Is baptism necessary for salvation?
Yes and no. Baptism is not necessary for salvation. Um, Paul says in Corinthians that Christ did not send him to baptize, but to preach the gospel. So he makes a distinction between them, and so clearly, I think the church has universally said, if someone is converted and they get hit by a truck on the way to the river, they get hit by a truck on the way to their baptism, then of course they're going to heaven. God is not bound, as the Westminster Confession says, God is not bound to means like that. So no, baptism is not necessary for salvation. Secondly, yeah, in what sense? Yes. Well, the Bible talks about. I used to many years ago have a problem with the Nicene Creed. We believe in one baptism for the remission of sin, until I realized that was a quotation from the Book of Acts. So the Bible does talk that way. So Ananias tells Paul to rise up, wash his sins away, which he does in baptism. Be baptized for the remission of sins. The ending and the Gospel of Mark. So there's an ordinary, normal way of speaking of baptism and salvation together. So technically, if you want to slice it very thin, no. But baptism and salvation go together ordinarily, scripturally. So if I say, if a groom says, "With this ring I thee wed," nobody thinks that the metal magically makes them married. But it's a normal action. Putting the ring on is taking the vow. And Christians ought to assume that water baptism and salvation go together in that ordinary way, that way, and not be distraught if someone who has clearly professed faith in Christ goes to be with the Lord before they're baptized. That's not a big deal.